Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, good morning. I'm already into the middle of the day, so we're gonna do a little bit of decaf. I just roasted some decaf. But I wanted to talk about just a little tip on using this thing. We've seen this everywhere, right? Like this is the tasting flavor notes wheel. And the first time I saw this, I was like, man, that looks so cool. And then for a while, I just really didn't know how to use it. For one, they make it so small. So there were a couple iterations of this. I got a nice laminated one from Clutch, but I had a nice one that I printed out, I think from like Counterculture Coffee or something like that. You can find it online. It's really popular. I'd print it out so that I could use it as a tool as I'm tasting and cupping, and so that I could be more articulate with the things that I was tasting. But the thing is, even with this tool, I think you got to know how to use the tool, right? So you can have any kind of coffee taster's flavor wheel like this, and they're all similar, but some can be a little different. But you'll notice the first thing I think that you'll recognize is the color. And I remember being in like a Mill City Roasters Coffee 101 class. Lauren and I think Derek at the time was saying that, hey, they sometimes see taste in color first to sort of just get into that mode. And so a cool thing that you could do at home, which is what I started to do, and I always do it to kind of like recalibrate when maybe for a couple of days I haven't been cupping, and maybe the taste, maybe my palate needs a little like recalibration. And I think you need to do that every now and again, like come back in to the cupping table. I think once you get used to doing certain things, you kind of maybe even get lazy about it and maybe not be as disciplined, especially if it's just like a quality control thing and maybe you're not trying to buy green or cup for a very professional, specific purpose. I think it's a good practice for myself, and I want to share it with you guys to recalibrate every now and again. And that frequency can be however many times you want to do that, right? But how to use this thing is to first maybe, when you don't have the vocabulary, or you're not that articulate, or the words don't come to you as quickly as it once did, maybe, or maybe it never did, like you could go to colors first. And so you can have this on the wall or something, as you're cupping, and you're there and you're cupping and you're like, nothing, no real words or descriptors, like clear descriptors are popping into your brain. Like, don't freak out, like just keep tasting it. I think then color, you can ask yourself, what colors do I taste? Is it green? Does it taste like, is it kind of earthy and herby and raw? Or is it a juicy thing? Is it really, really acidic and light? And so the pinks on here that I'm looking at, I could be like looking at the pinks if it's a very bright, maybe delicate thing. Like, I think socially, we look at pink as sort of like a delicate, light color, right? So they kind of color code that on the coffee taster's wheel, and it really can help guide you. And then you can kind of look in tighter, look in a little deeper and be like, yeah, is it floral? And like check yourself. Is it floral, or is it more, berry, or is it black tea? They have some nice words in here. Sweet aromatics, overall sweet, vanilla. And I'd be like, oh, what's the difference, right? Something like that. I always just would go to vanilla if I tasted vanilla. But there are, levels of vanilla within that vanilla, right? You've got like artificial vanilla. You've got like bourbon vanilla. You've got like vanilla coming right fresh off the bean, things like that. So that's how you could take it from a macro perspective. You're cupping coffees. You're maybe not going like, I don't know, it tastes like coffee or whatever. And you could start with color first. And then with the help of this type of tool, dive in a little bit deeper and say, yeah, is it fruity? Okay, yeah, it's fruity, but what kind of fruit? Like, is it a berry? Is it a dried fruit? Is it another fruit? And this just helps you help you and give you little descriptors. That way you can ask yourself yes or no. Is it? Is it? You know? And as you're tasting your coffees as they cool, they are changing and things like that. And that's all stuff that you can write down in like in a notebook or something. And then just kind of go through that. And I think it's a really fun way to just recalibrate, or if you've never done it before, it's super fun to do that too. And like, there's no pressure this way, versus like, I have to come up with a cool descriptor as I'm tasting this, which is why if you go to any tasting, there's always going to be somebody there who says something like that. It's like, you get all that, I just taste coffee, or I just taste wine, or I just taste whiskey, or the alcohol. You know, you've always got somebody there, and maybe that's you going like, I don't know, how are you getting these things? And it makes one want to like go, I don't know. So that's a way that you could do that. I think that's a really fun way to do that. So I'm going to be doing that. I feel like I've kind of like lost some bit of like articulation and some vocabulary. So for sure, while I'm always cupping for quality control, I think it's good to come back in here and do it kind of like seriously, or just as a fun challenge and be like, what do I taste? Like, let's go deeper than berries. What kind of berries, right? Things like that. So that's today's video. Happy Sunday, and we'll see you in the next one. It won't be Sunday for you though, right? Okay, bye.